Hubble Jet Image, it broke the first rule of comet physics. 3I Atlas didn't behave like a comet, it fought the sun. When NASA's Hubble Space Telescope turned its gaze on it, the image stunned astronomers. Instead of a tail streaming away from the sun, 3I Atlas showed a jet firing toward it, a beam of light and dust stretching more than 6,000 kilometers in the wrong direction. Captured in July 2025 and later confirmed by the Canary Islands Twin Telescope, this wasn't a glitch or reflection. It was real. A sunward jet, an anti-tail, a comet that looked like it was propelling itself toward the star it should be fleeing from. Harvard's A.V. Loeb called it the most tantalizing feature ever seen in an interstellar object. He said it's like photographing a cat with its tail growing out of its forehead. Experts tried to explain it: uneven heating, forward scattering, perspective, but none fully work. Every model still breaks something fundamental, because in those frames, Hubble didn't capture an ordinary comet. It caught a rule breaker, an object defying sunlight itself. And that's when scientists began whispering, maybe this thing isn't a comet at all. Mars Orbiter Discovery. What Mars saw made no sense. When ESA's ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter and Mars Express turned their cameras toward 3I Atlas in early October 2025, scientists expected a blazing comet tail stretching for millions of kilometers. Instead, they saw nothing, just a soft, glowing sphere, a fuzzy white dot drifting through the darkness. No tail, no streak. Only a thick, misty coma clinging tightly around its hidden core. From 30 million kilometers away, both orbiters caught the best interstellar close-up we've ever had. But what they revealed was unsettling: a coma without a tail, something that shouldn't exist under normal comet physics. Even ESA's own team admitted it was strange. The cameras, built to image the bright Martian surface, barely captured the faint halo of gas and dust. The nucleus itself was invisible, as if the object wanted to hide what it truly was. Spectrometers picked up hints of carbon dioxide and water vapor, but in strange proportions, far richer than typical solar system comets. And so, once again, the question grew louder. If it walks like a comet, but refuses to shine like one, then what exactly did Mars just witness passing by? Metal gas discovery. Then came the discovery that broke the pattern completely. 3I Atlas wasn't just venting gas, it was bleeding metal. In late August 2025, the Keck 2 telescope in Hawaii locked its cosmic Webb imager on the faint green traveler. What it saw didn't match any comet on record. Spectra revealed clouds of nickel and cyanide surrounding the nucleus, but no trace of iron, the element that should have been there. Nickel without iron is practically unheard of in nature. In fact, the same chemistry, nickel tetracarbonyl, NaCO4, only forms in industrial refineries on Earth. The Keck data showed it forming naturally near Atlas's core, as if the object was refining itself in the dark. The glow spread hundreds of kilometers, 600 for nickel, 840 for cyanide, a metallic plume stretching in both solar and anti-solar directions. Reporters called it spaceship-like outgassing. Scientists called it an anomaly because these emissions don't fit the recipe of any known comet. They fit something older, stranger, maybe even manufactured by cosmic forces we don't yet understand. And with every new image, 3I Atlas looked less like a comet and more like a mystery that shouldn't exist. Green glow image. For the first time, we saw 3I Atlas in color, and it didn't look like any comet we've ever known, captured on August 27, 2025. By the Gemini South Observatory in Chile, this image wasn't just data. It was art. A glowing green-tinted sphere drifting through a storm of colored stars. Gemini's multi-object spectrograph combined red, green, blue, and ultraviolet filters to create the most detailed portrait yet of this interstellar visitor. But when astronomers looked closer, something felt wrong. The coma was bright and symmetrical, too smooth, too uniform, and the faint tail, if any, was almost swallowed by the haze. It didn't flare like a normal comet. It glowed like something controlled. Online, the photo went viral. Zoomed-in low-res versions began circulating on X, with people pointing out what looked like a cylindrical core, sparking wild theories of artificial structure. Scientists dismissed it as pixel noise, but privately, some admitted the symmetry was uncanny. Gemini's data confirmed outgassing, yes, but also hinted at metallic reflections stronger than dust should allow. It looked alive, mechanical even. And when reanalyzed in October, one headline summed it up perfectly: 3I Atlas, the comet that refuses to behave like one. Red planet glimpse. Mars got the closest look yet, and the images made no sense. In early October 2025, ESA's ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter and Mars Express trained their cameras toward 3I Atlas as it swept past the red planet at 245,000 kilometers per hour. They expected to see a brilliant tail streaming behind it. Instead, the photos showed only a bright, lonely streak, a silent white blur moving through the black. The nucleus shone clearly, surrounded by a faint coma, but there was no visible tail. No sign of sunlight pushing dust away. From Mars's orbit, Atlas looked more like a glowing object under control than a melting ball of ice. Even the Perseverance rover caught a possible flash on its horizon that weekend, a brief streak of light many believe was the comet itself. NASA didn't confirm it, but the image spread everywhere. News outlets called it enigmatic. Online, people called it something else entirely. Artificial. The truth? No one knows. But one thing is clear. From every angle, every distance, 3I Atlas refuses to behave like any comet humanity has ever seen. Webb infrared data. The James Webb Space Telescope looked deeper, and what it found didn't belong in any normal comet. In early August 2025, Webb's near-infrared spectrograph captured the light signature of 3I Atlas from millions of kilometers away. It should have been simple. Ice, dust, maybe carbon monoxide. Instead, the data came back rich in carbon dioxide, carbonyl sulfide, and trace metals. A bizarre chemical blend, more like a planetary atmosphere than a frozen rock. Even stranger, Webb detected water vapor escaping far from the sun, far too early for a comet to be sublimating. Something inside Atlas was warming itself, releasing gas before solar heat could reach it. Scientists called it metal outgassing. The media called it engine exhaust. Infrared overlays showed heat spots flaring unevenly across its surface, like vents opening and closing in rhythm. Webb's clarity stripped away the mystery, yet made it bigger. If this was a comet, it was one that obeyed none of the rules, because when a supposedly frozen relic from deep space starts acting alive, you have to ask, what exactly is powering it? Atlas telescope shots. An ordinary survey camera quietly solved the biggest question, where 3I Atlas came from. Atlas's own follow-ups stitched a months-long time-lapse, from June precoveries to October frames, and the path was unmistakable. The dots don't bend into a loop. They draw a razor-straight escape lane, a hyperbola, not bound to the sun. The sequence shows a faint, hesitant tail and a puffed coma, just enough to prove activity, but motion does the heavy lifting. On July 1st, the Rio Hurtado Atlas station flagged the intruder. Subsequent frames, stacked and cleaned, traced the object back through a dense star field near the galactic center, exactly where earlier observers could have missed it. Hidden in plain sight, numbers followed pictures. Eccentricity far above 1. Inclination near retrograde. Perihelion late October, well beyond Earth. A safe miss, a fast goodbye. Compared with Oumuamua, this visitor is kinder to interpret. It has gas, dust, a tail, yet it still refuses to stay. The composites look boring until you realize their message. Born under another star. If a routine sky monitor can catch a traveler like this, what else is sliding past the ecliptic tonight? The hunt has only just started. NASA final frame. And finally, the data that tied everything together. NASA's SphereX mission watched 3I Atlas through early October, capturing infrared snapshots as the object brightened threefold in just days. That sudden surge shouldn't have happened. At its distance from the sun, no known comet could heat up that fast. SphereX's infrared spectrum told a stranger story: carbon-rich gases, faint organic compounds, and ancient frozen material releasing energy from within. The object didn't just reflect sunlight, it seemed to generate heat of its own. NASA called it a composition anomaly. The internet called it proof. Was it cracking open, venting volatile metals? Or something deeper, an ancient traveler built from the galaxy's first dust, awakening after billions of silent years? Multi-mission composites from SphereX, Webb, and Hubble showed the same trend. Atlas pulsing brighter, like a dying ember, reigniting one last time. To scientists, it's the oldest interstellar relic we've ever recorded. To everyone watching, it's the moment the story flipped, because what SphereX unveiled in October didn't look like a comet dying. It looked like something remembering how to live.